You might think that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi would have more important things to do than worry about charges she's using the United States Air Force as her private airline. But it appears a report by Judicial Watch accusing the Speaker of misusing Air Force planes has the Congresswoman seething. Tonight, Speaker Pelosi's office insists that all decisions on whether she uses military aircraft for travel are made by the Department of Defense. Pentagon correspondent Chris Lawrence has our report.
When Congress need to fly on military planes, the Defense Department books their travel. But emails and documents show some military planners intimidated by congressional staffers. And no wonder they're afraid to say no. Look what one staffer writes when she's told certain planes aren't available.
This is totally unacceptable. The Speaker will want to know where the planes are. This is not good news, and we will have some very disappointed folks, as well as a very upset Speaker. That sounds threatening.
When you have a representative, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, saying the Speaker is going to be very upset because there aren't corporate jets available for either her or members of Congress, I think you have an abuse of power.
Tom Fitton's conservative watchdog group documented hundreds of emails, including one where staffers discouraged commercial flights because it would inconvenience the members' husbands and wives.
Well, why do we have to take members of Congress's spouses into account?
Officially, the Pentagon says it takes requests in good faith.
I assume that everybody is very conscientious about the requests they make to use government aircraft.
But emails show exasperated military planners griping about the costs of prepping the jets, cooking the meals, crews driving in, and then staffers wait until the last minute to call it off. 2 days in a row, we cancel the mission after the crew is at the aircraft, when there were clear signs there would be no travel. In December, military planners argued over Pelosi's request to depart from an airport closer to her home. One wrote, "Whether it is the best use of assets is not the question, but instead, is it worth upsetting the Speaker?"
Now, ultimately, that flight did leave from its original airport, but it shows you that mentality of fear. And, you know, when I spoke with Speaker Pelosi's representative today, he said she is personally very appreciative of what the military does in making these flights available. But as the Speaker, as the leader, somehow that is not getting passed down the line to staffers, to go-betweens, because that is not the message that the military is getting.
Well, this is not her first run-in, being criticized, certainly, on the use of Air Force aircraft. But one of the things, Chris, I'm curious about, if she wants to convey that appreciation, do we have any record, or perhaps her office has provided us that record of, say, flowers, thank you notes to the fine pilots and staff that carry out these missions for the U.S. Air Force in the behalf of the Speaker and other officials?
Well, we do have some records that personally, when she is dealing with some of the pilots and the crew and like that she is very gracious to them. But I think this speaks to a much bigger issue, not one woman, not one instance, but a wider issue of this pressure that's put on some of these military planners, and the way that some people almost treat the Pentagon like some glorified travel agent.
Yeah, and that being Judicial Watch's conclusion, but I was just curious as whether or not she'd ever conveyed any kind of appreciation in writing, or made a point of saying, through some gesture, whether it be a small gift of flowers or candy or something, to sort of document that appreciation.
Yeah, it's a good question, Lou. We'll have to figure that out and find out about that.
Well, one of the things we do want to do, I happen to be all for business using corporate aircraft, and because corporate aircraft made in this country, whether they're Hawkers or Cessnas or Gulfstreams, this is an important industry, and business has an important tool in those private jets, those corporate jets. So I'm not against that kind of travel, but I am for high levels of transparency. So I hope that will be provided here by both the Air Force and the Speaker's office and other officials using those military aircraft. Thank you so much, Chris.